What's up, everybody? It's your favorite Coast Guard's favorite nerd, and today we are looking at TFC's Verit-Aid, which is their blades. So let's get going, and we'll talk about accessories first. He comes with a plethora of them. He comes with 4 swords, you know, I like to overpronounce the S, and we got silver paint and red paint, so 2 paint apps on each. They're done fairly clean. It's this one line between the silver and the black where things get a little sketchy on some of them. Right there. There. But for the most part, they're pretty clean, and 2 paint apps on each, which is nice. Now, of course, with every other helicopter, they can plug in here, and I gotta say, the fit here is a little tight. Not the best fit in the world, but they do plug in, and then these do manipulate, so you can have this plug into his arm here. I think it only fits in, yeah. And you know, you can give him like this sort of sword shield, which is goofy to me. I won't be utilizing that, but you can come up with all sorts of different incantations for this. But me personally, I will be giving him 2 swords. If I were to display him in robot mode, which you know I'm not. And he holds them perfectly well in both hands. And the cool thing is he will hold them both. So you can kind of have this look, which is, I think, is pretty slick. He comes with the combiner hand, of course, identical to the other, except the ball joint's plugged in there instead of here. A nice red paint on it all. Fairly well done. We got a little bit of specks here, but you know, nothing hateful. So there's that. And then we have this assembly here, which is basically 2 guns, one for each of you, which he holds just fine. Little bit of mold, I mean, you know, sculpt issue. You see it doesn't sit quite flush, but it's you know, I'm just pointing it out. It doesn't bother me, I'm just pointing it out. You know, like if they would have brought this design back a little bit and then down, it would have been perfect, but still not bad. And the guns themselves have 2 paint apps as well on each, which is nice, red and silver on both. Once again, the silver is where it gets sketchy, not so much with the red, for whatever reason. I think it's probably just because the silver shows up better on the paint and the red doesn't, so their problems with the red don't strike you as poorly. But same here, we got silver and red on this like Gatling gun, and then this hinges down, and I'm not sure if he can hold this or not. I haven't checked actually, but yep, he holds that. It's a little thin, so it doesn't really look cool, but he does have that, and it will plug into the side as well, which actually isn't that bad if you needed him to be, you know, armed to the teeth. He also comes with this bag of screw covers. I'm not going to be using them just yet. I'm going to kind of see how it works out in combine mode, and then make a decision. 1 red and then the rest black. So nice touch, thoughtful. Speaking of thoughtful, he comes with this, which is a rubber strip that you can cut and apply to the bottom of your combiner's feet to have them not slip so much. This is still I guess, yeah, so that sticks to the bot, I guess. No, wait, that's just a protective cover. Yeah, it's just a rubber strip. Yeah, so you cut it how you want it, you stick it to the bottom of the feet, and then I like that. That's thoughtful. So let's get down to this fella. I will say that first and foremost, there are a lot of little, like, thin pieces of plastic, and I'm very scared to be handling him because it just seems like one wrong move and it could go poorly. There's these 2 thin pieces here. Look how thin those are. I mean, everything works fine. It's just thin, and it makes me very cautious. And then the propeller blade is extremely thin there. And then there's an awful lot of panels going on with this guy, like there has been with this whole set. But this one on mine is like constantly coming out. And I don't know if it's because of this piece here. If I Yeah, so I guess if you wrap this around the extra side of kibble there, it'll stay a little better if you're having the same problem. But yeah, so first of all, we're going to go ahead and address the elephant in the room. So he's got kind of a boob on the back of his back here, and you know, I could think of worse things than getting a boob in the mail. So I got this idea for a skit. The guy I got today, he kind of looks like he's got a big boob on his back. I'm gonna talk about how nice it is to get a boob in the mail. I'm gonna like have you lay down, put a box over top of you, cut 2 holes in the box.
Get away from me.
Let's talk about the kibble a little bit. This is fairly unsightly, and it kind of looks sloppy. Like these 2 panels, there's not. It's just sloppy bit of kibble back here, and then this is kind of, you know, this is kind of intrusive to overall design and look of the figure. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it's kind of an eyesore, right? And it's got kind of all this. There's a fair amount of kibble going on with this fella. So, head, we got red paint, silver paint on the face. Eyes are a little big, but whatever, it doesn't bother me. Head is on a ball joint. You don't get really anything down. You do get a fair amount up and then side to side, of course, and all that. This flap doesn't peg in, and the kibble almost kind of gets in the way sometimes of getting his head all the way down, which is not the best thing in the world. Not the worst thing in the world either. I'm just, like I said, just pointing it out. The shoulder articulation is spot on. So we got a swivel here at this peg. We got a hinge that gets you out here, and it operates the other way, so you have a butterfly joint as a result. And then you have another hinge here getting you a hinge out. So the shoulder articulation is pretty much, you really, if you need something more than this, you're an awfully needy individual. Moving on down, we got red paint and gray paint, so 2 paint apps there, which is nice. Bicep, swivel, ratcheted elbow, wrist swivel. We got paint app there. It's like a metallic blue-ish kind of thing, and then plastic split up here, and then a red paint app there. So this is all really clean and nice, I will say. Same on the other side. We have this metallic, the same kind of metallic paint here. It doesn't seem to be perfect. Well, I guess it is. It is. There's just a notch in there, so it is. It's spot on. Well done, actually. Silver paint there, black paint there. Torso looks really nice and clean. Good looking bot. We'll rotate this and show you the waist swivel. We got silver paint on the pelvis, ratcheted, soft ratchets forward, hard ratchets out, universals for the hips, silver paint there, thigh swivel just above the knee. Meh. I mean, I'm not a big thigh swivel guy. I appreciate one, but you know, I don't mind it being low. Some people do, but whatever. Extremely stubborn, hard ratchets on the knees. Coming down, we have some silver paint there, plastic breakup between the white and red there. We got a blue paint app there, which we'll talk about when we get into helicopter mode. This is actually painted silver, which is a nice thought. A lot of times they don't do stuff like this, and it really makes it pop. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of that. I don't know. It's so bizarre to me. They went like balls to the wall with the paint apps on this guy. We got this metallic blue paint there on the feet. The feet themselves are on a ball peg. The peg it comes in back there, so you get an ankle tilt, and because of the ball joint, you get a rocker. So not a whole lot more. You get, if you want to like split hairs, you kind of get this toe tilt. I don't know why you would ever use that. Maybe if he was going down the steps. I don't know. But yeah, so it's funny because, like, you know, a lot of things are really spot on about this guy, but then, you know, this kibble is kind of, it is a bit much for me just because it's fiddly. It doesn't lock in really. So yeah. All right, so let's get him transformed. First thing I do is spin his waist around, and then kind of get this stuff out of the way, which is dying to come out of the way anyway. And then collapse his feet. And then bring this ball joint up here, spin it, and plug it in. Same on the other side. good to go. Bring these bits down here. Start pegging this together. Got to make sure that you don't misalign this, because you'll pay for it later. There we go. And then tab that together, and then collapse that, which is really slick. These hinges in there just push in, which I'm not sure if I've even seen before. You know, we've seen stuff collapse, but like hinges collapsing is pretty cool. So these bits in the box, FYI, these come at a funky angle, and it may not seem like you can collapse them. They do collapse to sit flush. Let's bring those up. And then collapse, spin so that it matches up. It messes up. Hope that wasn't a sign of things to come. Alright. Looking good. Bring out these hinges here. This whole piece rocks up, or hinges up really, but it feels like it rocks up. There we go. Same on the other side. This is like, it's confusing if you're not watching what you're doing, but it's definitely operator error in this situation. There it is. Peg all that together. And then collapse it down, and that should hold fairly nicely. Get this cockpit out of the way, and get these. And these is like, it's another one of those things where it's hard to exactly communicate what I'm doing because everything is just rocking around. I don't like how they did this little flimsy red piece here. I don't care for that. So that pegs in. It's the red piece that pegs in, FYI. There we go. These open up here, which is cool because it's almost like you didn't see it coming. Very clean. And all of this will tab together, which is cool. Tight like a tiger. Nicely done. I guess you want to spin his head around. And then this collapses like this. So for Robert. There. And that's that. Now let's get them accessorized, shall we? So of course the main piece is that, and then underneath. Fold that back. And this 2 ports tab in there, which is cool. Now this, minigun or Gatling gun, whatever it is, it's a little too close for comfort for me if I was to be piloting this unit to the underbelly of this hog. And then the last bit of business is these 2 side guns here. And there you have her, and she is a beaut. This helicopter is perfect aesthetically. I love the blue tinted windows. I love this blue stripe of paint for no reason. That's unlike TFC, and they gave it to us. We need to be appreciative of such things, because a lot of companies cheap out on paint, especially TFC, and they didn't do it here. We got this blue line for no reason. I'm ecstatic about it. Propeller spins like a champ. Back one, not so much. I guess you can angle it down a bit. Yeah. So that's actually, I think that's about where the rear blade should be. If you might want to fold it all the way up, but I don't think it's supposed to be. I think it's supposed to be out straight, which does cause this gap aesthetically, but at least everything works. I love it. I love the landing gear. I love the design. Look how clean it is. You can't tell this is a transformer, especially like take off the guns and stuff. You would never be able to know, I don't think. Very cool. Well done. Spot on. So size comparison wise, I'm not exactly sure what people want to see, but there's fenrir and there's chromia. So he's a good bit taller than a deluxe, but not quite in this Voyager scale piece, totally. So I don't know. Somewhere like we have to come up with a new names. Maybe a Voyux. I don't know. It doesn't quite fit, but we'll see. So final thoughts. My big complaint with this guy is he doesn't clean up well. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't have everything kind of go in a good place. Like the helicopter canopy is just, it's a little intrusive. The rotors and all that kind of stuff, the back fin of the helicopter is kind of right in your face. And the bot mode just doesn't clean up well with all the panels and stuff. It's not the best use of it all. So that's really my one and only complaint. This guy has a lot of really cool stuff going on. Like TFC, they really impressed me here with the amount of paint and the articulation and the action figure aspect of it. Like, all that stuff is spot on, and they nailed the helicopter mode. Nailed it. Knocked it out of the park, which is awesome. And there's just a lot of good stuff going on here. If it all cleaned up a little bit better, this would be maybe the best TFC toy I've played with. It's really quite good. This has me actually really optimistic about their future and interested to see what they come with next, because it's kind of seemed like their line has been in a bit of jeopardy. So I'm interested to see where they go from here. They have re-inspired me and re-sparked my interest with this piece. Now we'll have to see if Defensor doesn't kill it, but we'll check that out soon. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.